Okay, the time is now 10:10, and I'd like to call this Community Recognition Review Advisory Committee meeting to order on June 11, 2025. Since the unavailability of the chair and the vice chair, just for the purpose of this meeting, we will be appointing a chair. So can I get a motion to appoint a member as chair?
Just need a motion.
Duran?
I'd like to, because we're missing a couple of people, I'd like to ask Diane, Mrs. Chair.
Chair, says chair. Seconder? Elaine? Okay, any questions or comments? No? All in favor? Perfect, opposed? None, okay, that carries. Over to you, Diane, to chair.
Thank you. We have a land acknowledgement. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands. And as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas, recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaty of 1923. A shared understanding of how the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our cultural past brought us to where we are today will help us walk through to a better future. Approval of the agenda. May I please have a motion to approve the agenda as circulated by Legislative Services?
I don't mind.
Yeah.
I want to be the one.
That's okay, Joanne. Seconder?
Seconded by Elaine. Any questions or comments on the agenda?
I'll use an emoji on that from now on.
I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? That carries. Declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? See none? Receipt of the minutes. Committee Recognition Review Advisory Committee meeting minutes of April 9th, 2025. May I please have a motion to receive the minute meetings of April 9th, 2025? Moved by?
I don't want.
Seconded by?
Here.
Here. Mayor?
Yeah.
Any questions or comments on the minutes? I'll call the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Delegations. We have no delegations. Matters of consideration. Roundtable discussion, nomination and selection process. May I have a mover and seconder to put this item on the floor for discussion? Moved by?
Elaine's raised her hand. Elaine's moved it.
Yeah.
Seconded by? That the Community Recognition Review Advisory Committee comments regarding the nomination and selection process be received and referred to staff for consideration and further action as appropriate. Shelley Ware will provide us with an introduction.
Through you, Chair. With regards to this year's nominations, they were launched at the end of January. We did have We did not have an increase in the number of nominations, but I think the quality of nominations was there. I mean, there were many categories that were very hard to judge. And then as well, this is the second time around in using the evaluation matrix. And I do think that having the matrix filled out in advance, it did make for our decisions to go. Not that speed has anything to do about it, but I think it helped to focus in on how to come to a decision. So in looking at the obtaining nominations and looking at the piece of how winners were chosen, we are certainly open to any feedback for consideration in terms of changes for the 2026 program.
Does the committee have any questions or comments? There are no further comments.
Elaine does.
Elaine?
Hi there. I just want to comment that it seemed to have gone smoothly and much faster than it usually does. And the enthusiasm, as usual, with the family supporting the nominees was overwhelming. And it definitely is something that should, in my opinion, go forward, because it was showing a good community spirit by having the nominations and the awards. The after ceremony cocktail party seemed to have gone smoothly, and it wrapped up fairly quickly without incident. So I think well done for the people on the committee.
Is there any other further comments? Yes.
Sure. Through your chair, I did want to suggest to the committee, I did hear anecdotally feedback during the nomination process that some of our tried and true nominators previously did not participate this year as a nominator, because not only was it a busy time for specific organizations, but they felt that they put all the efforts into the application. And then we are really looking at like a 99% failure rate, because in each category we're choosing one winner. So I mean, if we have 10 nominations, there's only one winner. And so previously at a previous meeting, the mayor had mentioned, I think it was with regards to the Sports Hall of Fame, but I wondered if there would be consideration for the committee members if nominations received this year in 2025 would remain in the queue for consideration in 2026 with the addition of 2026 nominations. So for instance, those that were nominated, let's say for the Arts and Culture Award, they would remain in the package, and in 2026, the committee would be evaluating those as well as new nominations that came in. What would some thoughts be about that?
What's the idea of doing that?
Through your chair, greater chance for certain nominees to possibly be chosen, to avoid organizations from submitting the same nominations every year, like the workload for them to resubmit, because 3 really strong organizations did not submit any nominations this year.
But are you giving the person that was nominated this year, let's say, next year, if they stay in, they're getting a chance again up against other people? That's fair as far as I'm concerned. But is it also going to put them ahead of those people that are going to be nominated?
Through your chair, it shouldn't, because it's up to the selection committee with the matrix and how your discussions go about. If we went this route, the nominations that stay in the queue, staff would reach out to those nominators to ensure that the information on their nomination from this year still stands. Like for instance, a youth could age out, or the nominator could change their mind.
I understand what you're saying.
or we stay
Yeah.
status quo the way we're
I
doing
can
it now.
understand it too, but I'm just wondering if the new people coming in on this upcoming year, the next year, would feel they were going up against the year before and losing out to them, sort of thing, if they were allowed to go again.
But through you, Chair, those that would stay in the queue would still be volunteering in their same capacities and would still be, the merits of their nomination form would remain the same.
Mhm.
And committee members may not even know that they were previously nominated. Like, it all depends how
That
good
was
memories are.
Do we remember? I think it's a good point.
But I think if they're a really good worker like that, they would be nominated anyway by the people that have that committee that they're on. I would think that would happen.
Through you, Chair, that's why I'm suggesting it, because those organizations will not fill out the form again, because they've already put the time in it once. So why would they do it again, was some of
Could
the feedback.
Could we write that in the form, on the form somehow, if somebody that you feel is qualified for this and they don't make this year's, please don't be afraid to put them in the next year? Because that way they would have that as a reference.
So through you, Chair, so with the organization, there was 3. We went back to them several times, really begging for their nominations. They don't have the work span, they're volunteer-based organizations. The time of the nominations is a busy time for them. And so they weren't gonna take the time to fill out the forms. They did it last year, it didn't work out, they were not doing it this year. So I was just trying to come up with a way for their volunteers to still potentially be recognized, but we can also stay as we're doing.
What if the timing for this was different? So that they were stating that there wasn't time to fill out the forms. Is that a year-round lack of time, or is there a period of time that you feel that it would be easier for them to have more time to do these forms and nominations? Maybe it's the timing of when we have this.
So through the Chair, I think the timing, the fact that we get 2.5 months for nominations to come in is good. I think the time cycles for organizations are gonna be all different.
Okay.
So there'll never be an optimum time. This is about reducing the duplicate workload.
Mhm.
So if someone was deemed worthy enough to be nominated, let's say for the Arts and Culture Award, if their merits are still standing in 2026, does that organization have to refill out that form? Or with their blessing, can it be carried forward?
I don't assume that, I don't think anybody would assume that they could be carried forward. I think that the work they've done from that year to the next year that make it worthwhile. I still think that they have to be working at it, because we're assuming, the next year they might back off 0.75%, and we're putting them in. I think it has to come in from the group, I think.
So through your Chair, that's why we would vet each form and go back to the nominator to ensure that they still stand behind that.
It's making more work for you.
It's more work for staff, but I'm trying to reduce barriers for organizations to participate.
Mhm.
I can understand it, but I still think it's.
No, I think it's a good move. We can give it a try.
I agree with you.
If there are no other questions or comments, then motion on the floor is that you, Chair, that the comments be received and referred to staff for consideration as appropriate. So if there are no further comments, you can go. Not sure if anyone online has.
Is there any more further comments? There's no further comments. Call the vote.
You can call on there.
What?
Yeah.
much. Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
Any of,
Yes.
I'm opposed.
Hmm?
I'm opposed. I just
okay,
think it's an easier way to do it. I'm not being funny about it, but
I know, but that vote carries, yes, we're going to do it. Correct. On to the next one. Round table,
Excuse me, can we just put it in that we'll readdress this later on after the next awards? Next year, at the end of the next awards
yeah, how it goes.
thing, and we will readdress how we go about the nominations again? Is that possible?
We address it after the next one. She said.
Clarify.
Elaine, could you
Yeah.
please clarify what you said?
Oh,
Thank you.
yes, I'm sorry. What, we're having this discussion now for the next awards about how the procedure should be done. After we do the ones coming up, we should readdress it once again and see if we can tweak it or implement changes. Since we're not doing it this time, maybe next time there'll be something that we can do. I'm just saying maybe we should readdress it at that time, or is that already something that is done?
Yeah.
Just to see how it goes. See how it goes.
Through you, Chair, each year after each ceremony, we will always have this meeting to evaluate and review any aspect of the nomination process.
Oh, okay.
So any changes we make or don't make, or if we stay status quo, we will still come together as a group, because we're all committed to continuous improvement, however that may look.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the matter? Okay, Rover. Roundtable discussion. Award ceremony and reception debrief. May I have a mover and seconder to put the item on the floor for discussion? Moved by,
Guess so.
seconded by,
Elaine.
okay. That the Community Recognition Review Advisory Committee comments regarding the award ceremony and reception debrief be received and referred to staff for consideration and further action as appropriate. Shelley Ware will provide us with an introduction.
Through you, Chair, the committee wanted some more excitement this year at the ceremony. So I would like to hear feedback on that. Some of the new features this year that were implemented was we changed up the entertainment on the second floor by bringing in a crooner. And we tried to come up with a really dynamic, enhanced balloon photo op. As well, we brought in a youth harpist on the first floor. So there were some subtle changes. As well, I think the length and timing of the ceremony, I'm biased, but I think it was good. It was done clearly well under an hour. And I don't think the recipients were rushed. Like, I think it was respectful how it went. And of course, the mayor did an excellent job in keeping the pace and the flow. So those are my thoughts, but we're here to dissect the experience. If there's improvements that staff could consider for 2026, here's a good time.
Any comments?
Mayor's comments.
Definitely, I heard only good, positive comments about the harpist. She was a cute little thing. And she did a very good job. So I think that was a nice bonus because it added a certain amount of elegance to the evening. I otherwise only heard positive things.
Yep, the mayor's comments. think the mayor is busy.
Okay, where is he?
Sit there in the, just beside her.
See his name too. So he can speak.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, thank you. I agree. I mean, there was a lot of positive comments and feedback. Obviously, thanks in large part to the entire committee for the work that we, all of you did to basically make sure that the evening went off without a hitch. And I thought it was phenomenal. The only thing that we're always looking at how we can make it more efficient in anything in government. We're always looking at how we can make things more efficient. And so I did talk to a few of the photographers, so like Neighbor, as well as Glenn Rogers, who was there for the Auroran. And I'm just wondering, is there a way that we can streamline the whole picture part of it, where instead of 3 or 4 pictures per person that comes up, where maybe it's just one photo and then maybe it gets shared amongst all the reporters, so like we have one official photo that gets taken and then we'll just basically airdrop it to everybody, instead of, because I think we can save a lot of time of everyone just kind of standing there in between the awards, because this person's like, well, I want one more. And so I'm just wondering if we can kind of figure out a way to speed up that portion of it. And I think if we did that, I think a lot of people would appreciate that, because there's a lot of kind of, I guess you'd call it just kind of dead air time, where we're just kind of standing around and taking like 3-4 pictures. That's just a thought maybe that we can have for consideration. But I think that if we could work with the reporters, or the people that do normally come and take pictures, that we could figure out a way to maybe do it and streamline it.
Good point.
Through you, Chair, I will reach out to communications and look for a solution and a strategy, whether the town takes the lead on this, whether we retain something. I'll seek guidance from the communications manager so that we end up with only one photographer, however that turns out, and whomever that turns out being. So I'll take that back to her actually now, just so it doesn't, we've got time to work on this moving forward.
And if that does go ahead, it'll be perhaps noted in the applications or somewhere that there will be only a designated photographer, so that we don't have to deal with parents and family clamoring to the podium.
Well,
that when the time comes, it's noted.
Yeah, and I'll just sorry to interrupt, but Elaine, I agree. I mean, we can note it, but I don't think the problem is it's not as much as like a parent maybe just quickly coming down and taking a photo. It's that steady stream of, because like all of a sudden Lynette's taking a picture, and then Glenn's taking a picture, and then our town staff's taking a picture, right? Like right. And so I think that if we say, hey guys, so like whether it's Lisa, who works for the town, takes the picture, and right at the end she'll airdrop it to Lynette and to Glenn, so that way we don't have to have those 3 setups for each person that comes up to receive their award. I think we can probably shave about, I'd say, almost anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes per award.
Well, I understand now. Yes, I agree with you. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and we do the same thing, and I think Diane can vouch for me on this. Is for the most part, we do it like even when we go to openings and stuff like that, and instead of everyone taking a picture with their own camera, what we do is like Lynette will usually take a picture, and then she'll just airdrop it to everybody of like the ribbon cutting, so that way everyone gets the picture, and we don't have to stand there for 20 minutes taking pictures. And so I to me, I see it kind of the same way, and I think it might be a better way, and I think people would appreciate not the fact that we're trying to speed up the ceremony and kind of get it done with, but just the flow, I think, would be a little bit more productive.
I agree. I'm perfect. I understand, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I agree with you.
Okay.
I understand completely too. The only thing is, speaking, I guess, from a resident's point of view, it might be something that they really look forward, like they're excited because they just won, and that they're getting pictures taken by various people. But I exactly know what you mean and everything, but the thing is, I just wonder if that's more exciting to those people in their family that are sitting around, that they see all that. But anyway, I can understand completely, and it would work either way, but I think the people would be more excited.
Shelley, any comments?
Through you, Chair, right now, the winners are getting one photo from the town. So I think it makes sense that we go all in and make it the best photo possible. And then we've got the golden photos. I think, as the mayor pointed out, I think this up-down business, the presenter gets up, the winner gets up, three people from the media get up, they go back to their seats, they sit, it's the up-down, I think that could be adding a bit of disjointment to it, whereas there's only one person getting up and one winner. I think the mayor makes a good point in that sense. And I think we could lead to a stronger photo as well, as if it's our photographer, not rushing to get the photo because Glenn's there to get the photo, because we can take that 30 seconds, get the $1 million photo and move on.
But they would have to use a cell phone to take that picture to airdrop it to everybody.
The town can work, through you, Chair, the town can work out those logistics. Like, there's a variety of ways that it could be done. If it is the town taking the photo, like, they're the experts, we'll make sure that it is that there's a way for it to be readily accessible. If it is the town and it's on Lisa's really good camera, then there has to be a way to get those photos that night within 10 minutes type of thing.
Okay, just as long as that can happen, because few of them use cameras, not cell phones. Okay, any other comment?
What? Sorry, Diane, I was just going to interrupt again. Because exactly as what Shelley just mentioned, we've done this at the town as well, is where staff have taken photos of an event, and within like 5 to 10 minutes, they send essentially a file with all the photos to anyone that wanted them. So I think it's staff would be able to do it, and we just figure out what's the best way for everyone to receive those photos, whether it's through airdropping or just sending a file with all the photos.
Okay. Any other comments? No comments? Matter closed? Informational items.
We need to vote on the receive and refer the comments to staff for this item. Yes, just call the vote.
Yeah, I call a vote on this, please.
All in favor?
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. That carries. Informational items. We have no information. Is there any new business? Shall we, please?
Through you, Chair, I'd like to inform the committee that the Heritage Advisory Committee has expressed interest in having the Heritage Awards presented during the Community Recognition Awards ceremony, which was done for many years previously. We are just at the stage of exploring that. Staff have not had a chance to look into it, but I wanted to share that information with the committee at this time.
Is it conceivable?
Through you, Chair, I believe for my first 10 years here, we always had the awards fused into this program, and then they were taken out and separate. I haven't had a chance to have a lengthy conversation with the staff liaison for that Heritage Advisory Committee, but they have expressed interest. I think it would be efficient for their awards to be fused in this versus them having to create a whole separate event. But like I said, staff haven't been able to do a deep dive into this, but this has been brought up and will need to be decided and absorbed, or next steps determined, likely probably before the committee meets again, which is why I just wanted to bring it up as a just another business to have been item to have been brought up.
What would be, just curious, what would be involved in the Heritage, excuse me, Heritage Award?
Through your chair, I do not know the specific awards they would be addressing. It could be one award, it could be 3 awards. I'm not sure if these awards are the heritage designations or if these awards are granted for particular facade improvements or whatnot.
Okay.
So not into that. I suspect if it's 4 or 5 awards, we're looking at approximately 11 minutes, maybe extra added to the ceremony. I think it comes down to timing for the ceremony, but then adding 11 minutes versus an entire separate event having to be planned involving council as well. Like, there's pros and cons, but it was organically already in this program. So somehow in their advisory committee, they've come across that or come up with this and have reached out to me as the staff liaison for this committee. So I wanted to share, and this has just all come to light in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
But on the other hand, if we go along and to take out the other minutes from the photography and that type of thing, we're going to have the time anyway for them. Yeah, and I think as a community, I think just this is such a well-known town for its heritage work. I think it's really important to include something like that.
I agree.
Yeah.
So Shelley will do her duty and investigate and come back to us. Thank you. Any other new business?
No.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
It's gonna be.
Elaine
Pretty
and Joanne.
Goodbye. All in favor?
Yes.
Ask her anything.
Opposed?
Excuse me.
That carries. Thank you.